Welcome to This Explainer. Look, let's be totally honest for a second. There is almost nothing more frustrating when you're learning a new language than being completely stuck just because you don't know how to ask a basic question. You know, you're trying to find a train station, you want to know what time a shop opens, or you just want to ask someone their name, and boom, the conversation hits a brick wall. Well, today we are tearing that wall down. We're tackling les mots interrogatifs, le niveau A1. We are going to master the 8 essential question words you need to completely unlock basic French conversation.
So to make sure we don't get overwhelmed, here is our roadmap for today. First, les détails de base. Second, l'analyse profonde. Third, quantités et choix. And finally, a résumé et exercice. Let's dive right in.
All right, kicking things off with section 1, les détails de base. Qui, que, quoi, où, quand.
First up, we have qui, which means who. Listen to that pronunciation. It sounds a lot like the word qui in English, just with a slightly softer K sound. Qui. The method here is beautifully simple, honestly. Whenever you want to ask about a person, you just take qui and immediately follow it with your verb. Simple as that. Let's see this formula in action. Look at example 1. Qui est? This literally means who is it, or who is that? Super short, super punchy, and incredibly common. Now check out example 2. Qui parle français ici? Meaning who speaks French here. Notice how rhythmic that is? In both cases, qui sits right at the front, acting as this perfect anchor to ask about a person. Now, what's really fascinating is how the French language handles the word what. It actually splits into 2 entirely different words depending on exactly where it sits in your sentence. If your what is at the very beginning of the question, you use que. But if you place it after the verb or after a preposition, it magically transforms into quoi. They both ask about a thing, but placement is everything here. Let's make that rule crystal clear. Example 1 asks que fais-tu, meaning what are you doing? Because the question word kicks off the sentence, we use que. But immediately contrast that with example 2. Tu manges quoi, which translates to you're eating what? Here, because the question word comes at the very end, right after the verb, we have to use quoi. It's the exact same concept, just shifting based on sentence geography. Moving right along, we arrive at an absolute lifesaver for any traveler. Où, meaning where. And a quick note, see that grave accent over the où? That is critical for your spelling. The method here gives us a really classic, reliable formula for asking about a location. Step 1, start with où. Step 2, add your verb. Step 3, add your subject. This inversion is the absolute gold standard for formal, correct French questions. These examples are so practical, you should absolutely be practicing these out loud right now. Example 1, où habites-tu, meaning where do you live? And example 2, où est la gare, meaning where is the train station? Believe me, if you are navigating the streets of Paris or Montreal, knowing exactly how to fire off that second sentence is going to be crucial. To round out our first section, we have quand, meaning when, which we use for asking about time or specific moments. And look at the method. Quand plus the verb plus the subject. Sound familiar? It definitely should. It's the exact same reliable inversion formula we just learned for où. French grammar loves a good pattern, and once you start spotting them, your learning speeds up exponentially. This brilliantly illustrates how flexible this word can be across totally different situations. Example 1 is very personal. Quand est-ce que tu arrives? Meaning, when are you arriving? And notice how they threw an est-ce que here to keep the subject and verb in their normal order. That's a super common alternative. Meanwhile, example 2 is for general events. Quand commence le film? Or when does the movie start? Just 2 perfect everyday questions. Awesome job. Let's transition smoothly into section 2, l'analyse profonde. Pourquoi et comment? Our first deep analytical word is pourquoi, which means why. The method is straightforward. Simply put pourquoi right in front of your question to ask for a reason. But, and this is a crucial detail, when you ask pourquoi, the answer is almost always going to begin with its trusty partner phrase, parce que, which means because. They are quite literally 2 sides of the exact same conversational coin. Let's look at these slightly longer examples. Example 1 asks, pourquoi étudies-tu le français? Meaning, why are you studying French? Honestly, a great question to ask a fellow learner. Example 2 says, pourquoi est-ce que tu es fatigué? Or, why are you tired? Even though the sentences are getting a little bit longer, the core structure remains incredibly simple and totally manageable. Next up in our deep dive is comment, which translates to how. The method is comment plus the verb plus the subject. You're going to use this whenever you need to ask about the manner or the method in which something happens, like, how did you do that? How do we get there? It is an incredibly versatile tool for your conversations.
Now, if you're looking at these examples and thinking they look a bit familiar, well, that should completely boost your confidence, because you probably already know this word from standard beginner greetings. Example 1, comment ça va, is the classic how's it going. And example 2, comment tu t'appelles, is what is your name, though literally it translates to how do you call yourself. You have literally been using this interrogative word since day 1 without even realizing it.
Let's keep this momentum going. Section 3. Quantité et choix. Combien? Quel? Quel? All right, here we have combien, which covers both how much and how many. Now, the method here highlights a really important grammatical quirk. You can totally use combien on its own, but if you are following it directly with a noun, meaning the actual thing you are counting, you absolutely must add the little word de. So it becomes combien de plus the noun.
Let's look at the immense practical utility of these two examples. Example 1, combien ça coûte, meaning how much does it cost? You don't need the de here because there's no noun immediately following it. But look at example 2, combien de frères as-tu, meaning how many brothers do you have? Because frère is a noun, you absolutely must use combien de. So whether you're shopping in a local market or making small talk about family, you're covered.
Okay, so the crucial point is right here. When you want to ask which or what when making a choice, you use quel. But French has gendered nouns, right? Which means your question word actually has to match. On the left, we have quel spelled with a single L for masculine nouns. On the right, we have quel spelled with a double L and an E for feminine nouns. The French noun you are asking about dictates your choice of spelling entirely.
The pronunciation for both is exactly the same, but the spelling perfectly illustrates the grammar rule. Example 1, quel est ton nom, meaning what is your name? Because the word nom is masculine, we use the masculine quel. Example 2, quelle heure est-il, meaning what time is it? Because hora or hour is feminine, the spelling shifts to the feminine quel. It's a subtle visual shift for sure, but it's totally vital for proper writing.
Incredible job making it this far. Let's transition into our final phase, Section 4, le résumé et les exercices. Time to practice.
Here is your rapid-fire recap. Try to remember what they mean as I say them. Qui, que or quoi, où, quand, pourquoi, comment, combien, and quel or quelle. These 8 words are quite literally the keys to the kingdom of conversation.
Now, I have a direct challenge for you. Exercise 1 asks you to fill in the blank space, a beach 2, knowing the answer is I live in Delhi. Which of our 8 words fits right in there? And for exercise 2, I want you to construct one original question using pourquoi and one using combien. Seriously, pause this explainer right now, test your brand new knowledge, and drop your answers right down in the comments below. I really can't wait to read what you come up with.
Thank you so much for joining me today. You've just unlocked a massive conversational superpower. Think about it. You no longer have to just passively listen. You now have the exact tools you need to initiate conversations, ask for help, and express curiosity in French. But let me leave you with this final thought. Now that you have the tools to ask literally anything in French, what is the very first question you're going to ask? And who are you going to ask it to? Keep practicing, and I'll see you right back here for our next lesson. À bientôt.